I'm sure we've all come across our fair share of strange Reddit stories. Recently, I was scrolling the internet and I stumbled upon something that's a little different. Imagine working your regular retail shift, stocking shelves, helping customers, clocking in and out on your break, only to discover that there's cryptic letters arriving in your store's mailbox. Letters that none of your coworkers can seem to make sense of. Now, imagine this isn't just happening to you, but 5 other people at Target stores across the country. It sounds like something out of a fiction novel, but for 5 Reddit users, this bizarre scenario became their reality. So, let's not waste any more time. Get comfortable, because what you're about to hear might just be one of the strangest internet mysteries to surface in years. On Thursday, May 1st, 2025, a Reddit user by the name of Smokin' Pepperoni posted to the r/RBI subreddit, compiling images and reports from Target employees. Their stores had all received eerily similar letters, each sent from Atlanta, Georgia with no return address. The envelopes were simply addressed to the Target Corporation in this impeccable handwriting. The letters themselves read like a fever dream. Here's what the first paragraph says. Target department stores sell many high-quality products. The Speedo Boomerang swim goggles that will securely strap around a person's head even when a young woman is vigorously paddling a kayak through a canyon. Also, the delicious bottles of Mountain Dew that are sold in the refrigerated coolers. At first glance, it seems nonsensical, but at the bottom of each letter, the author leaves a chilling signature line. A young woman, Stephanie, is vigorously paddling a kayak down the Tuckasegee River. Now, that's already strange, but it somehow gets even stranger. In every single letter, the woman's name and the river's name change. For example, one mentions an Avery kayaking down the Skokomish River, another names Sarah paddling down the Hiwassee. Despite these variations, the rest of the text remains identical across all 5 letters. And somehow that isn't even the weirdest part. Each envelope also contains 2 photographs. The first is of a red Toyota Matrix, seemingly taken at a circa 2008 auto show. The second shows the Speedo Boomerang swim goggles lying atop a plastic Target bag. These letters weren't isolated incidents as well. Reddit users have tracked 5 such envelopes, the earliest being sent in May 2023 and the most recent in April of 2025. There's an obvious clear pattern here. Target stores, random locations, 2 photos, and the same letter except for those recurring changes to the woman's name and river. However, there were 2 letters that would break this pattern, and those deviations are what make this story much more unsettling. The first occurred in March 2025. The letter would mention Sarah, but this was the second time Sarah had been mentioned. Not only that, this time her name was highlighted in pink instead of yellow. The river had also changed. She was now paddling down the Susquehanna River. The second deviation came from the very first letter ever discovered. In addition to the kayaking passage, it contained this line. An abandoned ice cream truck, 1974 AM General, FJ8A, parked in a junkyard in a vast, remote, barren, sandy desert. That line is super eerie, but there was also another photograph in this envelope that none of the other letters contained. It shows a Target mannequin wearing a sun hat, and that's it. You might have already caught this by now. One of the more unsettling details about this isn't the photos or the cryptic messages, but the handwriting. Each letter is written in this thick black Sharpie with the ink bleeding through the paper into the back. The penmanship is so neat and uniform, good enough to the point where many believed it was printed at first. But the grammar tells another story. There's confusing syntax, misplaced modifiers, odd capitalization, and a near constant misuse of nouns and verbs. But the strangeness doesn't end there. On the back of each photo, there's thick black Sharpie marks that are obscuring what many believe is identifying print information, details that could reveal the sender's location or where they printed it. Alright, I know that's a lot of information to take in all at once so quickly, so let's recap for a second. We have an anonymous sender mailing envelopes to random Target stores. Each envelope contains 2 photos and a nonsensical letter with a footnote mentioning a young woman kayaking down either a river or a lake. In one of these cases, the sender would reference an ice cream truck and include a photo of a mannequin. In another one, he would mention the name Sarah twice. Now that we have that covered, let's dig into what some Reddit users have attempted to uncover so far. One user, u/Nuki Newman, asked whether the photos were developed or printed. The OP that had received one of these envelopes, u/Smokin' Pepperoni, confirmed, alongside another user, Littleface13, that lo and behold, they were printed on Fujifilm quality dry photo paper. This is the kind of photo paper that you would find at the Walmart photo kiosk, or your local Office Depot or Staples. Another commenter was also able to trace the stamp used on the letters to a stamp release in January of 2025, suggesting that the sender is buying these stamps locally and dropping these envelopes in standard USPS drop boxes. As for the photos, Reddit users identified the red Toyota Matrix picture as likely taken at the Atlanta International Auto Show. For the ice cream truck, when searching its model number on Google, you're led to an article on thetruthaboutcars.com detailing a 1974 AM General FJAA abandoned in a junkyard. I did some digging into the article's author, Murray Martin. His blogs contained pictures from junkyards all across the United States, so I couldn't find the exact junkyard. However, I was able to cross-reference an address on the exterior of the ice cream truck to an ice cream store in Long Beach, California. Not only that, only within 5 minutes of the store, there's a junkyard, which I believe might be the junkyard where these pictures were taken. Coincidence? Maybe, but it raises even more questions. And that was just the surface of theories that commenters would propose. This next one is probably the most chilling and damning of them all. Okay, if you have a good eye, you probably noticed this, but every river mentioned in the letters, Skokomish, Hiwassee, Kabetogama, Susquehanna, Tuckasegee, they all have Native American etymological roots. And disturbingly, there's one case where the name of a woman from the letters matches a real missing person. In Knoxville, Tennessee, where the Hiwassee River flows, a young woman named Sarah Lewis vanished on June 2nd, 2023, just days after the first letter was sent. The timing on that is unnervingly close. Could these letters be tied to actual crimes? Are they perhaps anniversary reminders from someone who did something horrific near these rivers? Or is this all just simply some weird kids' cryptic art project? I spent hours combing through missing person cases, trying to link the other names to missing persons near their respective rivers, and while a few matches turned up, they were either too far from the rivers to be relevant, or the victims didn't fit the young woman profile. Now, I do need to mention the possibility that this is all an ARG, but if that were the case, it's an odd one. There's no obvious trail, no website, and no clear clues leading anywhere, just anonymous letters and an audience desperately trying to connect the dots. So, what do I think? Honestly, I don't know. Part of me leans towards it being an unfinished ARG, but the lack of direction and the eerie connections to recent missing person cases makes it feel like something more sinister. Whatever the truth may be, I have a feeling we haven't seen the last of these letters. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I know this is a short video, but in all honesty, there's just not really much for me to cover here. It's incredibly interesting, and I really want to know more once we get more letters posted on Reddit, but until then, this is probably all we'll know. Let me know in the comments how I did on the narration, by the way. This is my first time narrating for the channel, and I'd love to hear your feedback. Also, don't forget to check out our TikTok and join our Discord server. I've linked both of them in the description, so you could just scroll down there and find them real easy. Make sure to tune in Friday for part 2 of our iceberg series. We're working really hard on it, and I can guarantee you it is 10 times weirder than our last part. Until then, stay curious and stay safe.